right, welcome back to another Tech Stories by Techarc. Today, we are diving deep into something really interesting, the OnePlus 15. Now, this isn't just another flagship phone. No, the buzz is that this could be India's very first super smartphone. So the big question is, does it actually live up to that massive hype? Let's find out. Now, everything we're about to talk about comes straight from Techarc's really detailed review of this new 2025 flagship. We're going to unpack exactly what could make this phone a total game changer. Okay, so here's the plan. We'll start with what super smartphone even means. Then we'll get into the good stuff, the crazy performance, the battery that just won't quit, a camera built for creators, and all the new AI smarts. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with Techarc's final verdict. So let's get right into it. What actually makes a phone super? It's not just about stuffing it with the latest, most powerful specs. According to Techarc, the real magic is in how all those parts are engineered to work together perfectly, to give you insane performance that doesn't just peak, but stays there, even when you're pushing it to the absolute edge. And let's be honest, who pushes a phone harder than a serious gamer, right? That's exactly why the #1 pillar for this super phone smartphone claim is performance. We're talking about performance built from the ground up for the most hardcore gamers. Okay, let's look under the hood. At its core, this thing is an absolute beast. It's running the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. But, and this is key, it's not just about raw horsepower. OnePlus has tuned it with a custom CPU scheduler, packed in up to 16 gigs of ridiculously fast RAM, and the latest UFS 4.1 storage. What does that all mean? Simple. Flawless, buttery smooth performance no matter what you throw at it. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about hitting high numbers for a few minutes. OnePlus is making a huge industry-first claim here, always on 120 FPS. And get this, Techarc's review actually backs this up. They found that even after 2 straight hours of intense gaming, the frame rate was just rock solid. For any serious gamer, you know that kind of stability is, well, it's everything. And speaking of gaming, precision is everything, right? So the OnePlus 15 packs a UAV-grade gyroscope. Think drone-level tech. It can track motion at 4,000 degrees per second. In plain English, that means your aiming in your favorite shooters is going to be incredibly precise. Like, scary precise. That same level of precision carries over to the screen. We're talking a 3200 Hz touch sampling rate. It means the second your finger touches the glass, the phone reacts. There's virtually zero lag between your touch and the action on screen. And in a competitive match, that split-second advantage can be the difference between winning and losing. Now, all this power, it creates a ton of heat. That's just physics. So how do you stop the phone from slowing down? Well, OnePlus has an answer for that too, a massive 3D vapor chamber. It's the core of their cryovelocity cooling system, and its whole job is to keep the phone cool so your performance never ever throttles, even hours into a gaming marathon. Okay, so the performance is insane, but what's the point if your battery dies in 2 hours? Exactly. And that brings us perfectly to the next big pillar of this super smartphone claim. It's absolutely marathon battery and just how tough this thing is. And this is where things get kind of mind-blowing. The OnePlus 15 has a 7,300 milliamp hour battery. Let me say that again, 7,300. That is massive. It's not just a spec, it's a statement from OnePlus that they want to completely eliminate battery anxiety no matter how much of a power user you are. And you know what? The real-world tests are just as wild. Techarc put it through its paces. We're talking 3 hours of heavy gaming, plus another 2 hours of just regular use, and the phone still had 45% battery left. 45%. That is easily enough to get you through the rest of the day and probably part of the next. So, what happens when you finally do need to plug in? Well, it's ridiculously fast. You've got 120-watt wired charging that gets you to a full 100% in just 39 minutes. Or if you prefer, there's a 50-watt wireless option. And here's a really cool feature for gamers, something called bypass charging. It basically powers the phone directly, skipping the battery, so it stays cool while you're plugged in and playing. And this phone isn't just a powerhouse, it is built like a tank. It has an IP69K rating. Now, what does that mean? It means it can handle being blasted with high-pressure, high-temperature water jets. It's seriously tough. Throw in the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the screen, and you're looking at one of the most durable flagships out there. Period. All right, so we've established it's a beast for gamers and power users. But the OnePlus 15 isn't a one-trick pony. It's also gunning for content creators with a camera setup that is way, way more than just your average point and shoot. So check this out. The whole system is built around count 'em, three 50-megapixel sensors. No weak links here. You've got a top-tier Sony sensor for your main shots, an ultra-wide that also pulls double duty as a macro lens, and a periscope lens that gives you 7x optical quality zoom. It's just an incredibly versatile and powerful setup that's ready for pretty much anything you can think of. But honestly, for creators, the video is where this phone really starts to flex. It can shoot in glorious 8K, it can do 4K at 120 frames per second in Dolby Vision HDR. That's huge. Add in pro features like O-Log for color grading, and a 32-megapixel selfie camera that actually has autofocus. Yeah, this is a serious creative tool. So we've got the brawn, right, we've got the creative tools, but what about the brains of the operation? Well, that's where OxygenOS 16 comes in. OnePlus has baked in a whole layer of next-gen AI that's all about actually making your life easier, not just being a gimmick. And the star of that AI show is something called the Plus Mind Hub. The best way to think about it is like a super smart scrapbook for your digital life. You can save anything, a screenshot, a link, a quick note, and the AI just understands it. It automatically organizes and indexes everything so you can search for it later. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's one of those features that's genuinely powerful. And that's just scratching the surface. You've also got deep integration with Google Gemini, an AI recorder that can tell different speakers apart in a meeting, a tool that can magically relight your portraits after you take them, even an AI scanner to clean up documents. See? These are all genuinely practical things you might actually use every day. Okay, so we've covered the insane performance, the monster battery, the creator-focused camera, and the smart AI features. That brings us to the big question. What's Techarc's final verdict? Who is this phone really for? And the key takeaway is this. The OnePlus 15 isn't just a phone with a great spec sheet. It's about the engineering behind those specs. It's about how every single component has been tuned to work in perfect harmony. The goal wasn't just power, it was reliable, sustained peak performance. So here's the bottom line straight from the review. If things like rock-solid gaming stability, battery life that lasts forever, and crazy fast charging are at the very top of your list, then the OnePlus 15 is basically the definitive choice in the 2025 flagship market. It's that simple. So that leaves us with one final thought. Is this the new benchmark that all other flagships will be measured against? You know, by really doubling down on the things that matter most? Stability, endurance, and usable power. OnePlus hasn't just built another flagship. They might have actually created a true super smartphone. And now, the rest of the industry has some serious catching up to do.